Everyday amazing with Sky Alton. Everyday amazing. Everyday amazing with Sky Alton. Everyday amazing. Everyday amazing with Sky Alton.
Welcome to another episode of Everyday Amazing. Of course, I'm your host, Sky Alton. Here we highlight amazing people with inspiring stories to tell. Today I have one of the hottest comic book creators coming out of Sacramento. His name is Brent Trayce Sands. So without further ado, let's get into it. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good, brother. How are you?
I am great. I'm so happy to have you here for season 2, very first episode. Before we talk about your comic, man, I want people to kind of get to know you and know a little bit about you. So are you local to Sacramento? Like, how long you been out here?
My entire life. I've only lived outside of Sac for 3 years. Born and raised, Natomas High, Sac State.
Okay.
You know, Sacramento. I'm usually been in the Natomas area, though.
Got it, local to Natomas. Now, what did you major in at Sac State?
I majored in film, and then I minored in creative writing.
Creative writing.
Yeah.
Okay. Now that people know a little bit about you, let's really get into what people want to know, and then it's your comic, man. And from what I hear, man, and what I've read, you have this amazing comic called Impound Comics. Mm-hmm. Talk to me about how that came about.
So I was already writing like movie scripts. That was why I majored in film in the first place. And then I was writing, you know, novels sometimes. I transitioned into writing a comic book after I seen the movie Black Panther. Mm-hmm. That just kind of made me want to take another approach to still getting to the film industry. And then I wrote this book, Impound 1, and then I did so well, I just kind of kept going, you know, and then we became a comic book company over time.
If I'm not mistaken, Ryan Coogler went to Sac State too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I could see that, man. I know for me that inspired me because I actually graduated from Sac State also, and you know, I remember seeing a poster of him in the library, and you know, I know when I created my own thing that you know, if you had somebody else who made it from Sac State, who made it out there in Hollywood, so I'm like, you know what, why can't I?
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely. So that was a big reason.
Yeah. So talk to me a little bit about your process when it comes to like script writing. Like, do you have a ritual or like a certain way that you have to go about writing, or is it just inspirational from just everyday life?
I need alcohol. I need Game of Thrones in the background. That's just like my favorite thing, like in the sense of writing. And then yeah, when I'm in the mood to do it, I do it. If I'm not, I don't try to rush anything or force it. And then now I've written so much, it's kind of just happens in the process of just life. You know, I'll just be somewhere, I'll see something, it makes me think of something dope, I'll jot it down, and then I just piece it together over time. You know, I'm not on anyone else's time, so
right.
It just happens when it's done.
I mean, that's the beauty of creating your own thing, right?
Yeah.
It's like, you know, you can create at your leisure.
Yeah.
Right? And speaking of that, is script writing like a pleasure or pain to you, right? Like, obviously, you do it because, you know, you enjoy it, but I know even the things we enjoy can sometimes we can feel like we really dislike it. So.
No, I mean, it's like, I can't say I enjoy the writing part, you know, but it's something gets stuck in my head and I have to get it out. You know what I mean? So I enjoy it more when I'm done, you know what I mean, versus actually writing it. But like I said, when I have an idea that sticks with me, I just have to do it. So I do enjoy bringing stories to life. I like when I actually see it physically in front of me, like a completed project, that's when I'm more like excited about it. That's when it becomes real. Right. You know.
Now, like, what has been growing up? I'm assuming that you read a lot of comics.
No.
No. Okay. So no comics growing up.
No, not really. You know, I read novels.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Or I was a fan of the comic world, but it was like in the series, the movies, the games. But no, I wasn't reading comic books. Okay. People ask me that often. You know, and as ironic as it sounds, no, I wasn't reading a ton of comic books growing up.
What about now, since you know? Still okay. So
Not really, bro. You know what I mean? Like, I read mine. I read other indies, but I don't really read mainstream comics. You know, it's just not my thing. You know, like I said, I'm more of a visual or a novel guy if I was to read. So, but more often I only been rereading me or writing.
Ain't nothing wrong with that. But some of your favorite novels, maybe then, like growing up, that kind of like inspired some of your writing.
There was always Harry Potter, you know, and then like I said, now my favorite things is Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones. I haven't finished reading all the books, but I did start. I heard of the show first, so when I got through that, you know, once it was over, now I wanted to dabble into actually reading it. But you know, I just don't really have a lot of time these days to just, you know, sit and read. Yeah. You know, so that's just the reality of it. But those are definitely things. First full book I ever read, besides like kids' books when I was young, was Frankenstein. Okay. You know, so that book was really dope to me. And I don't know if it was just because I did it, you know what I mean? Like I accomplished it. But that book always stuck with me too.
Was it the characters in the book or just, you
yeah,
know?
I mean, I already knew the story of Frankenstein in a way. But going in depth, I think, was just different than just watching a film. Yeah. And then another weird book that stuck with me was 1984. Okay. You know what I mean? Yeah, that was a signed reading. I had to do it, but it stuck with me. You know what I mean? So, yeah, man, that's pretty much it, though. Harry Potter was the big one, though.
The big one, okay. Now, okay, so we got Harry Potter, we got novels. I want to bring this up because I think I saw recently you were at Sac Anime. Yeah. How was that, man?
Sac Anime is always dope. You know, the people who organize it are very supportive of what I'm doing. Mm-hmm. And just being there every time we go, more people are familiar with us than the time before. But yeah, it's like that's one of the biggest cons in, you know what I mean, in California. Definitely NorCal. So it's always dope.
Okay. So since you were at Sac Anime, I got to ask this, you know, does anime inspire any of your characters?
A little bit, or? Sometimes. I mean, I wasn't heavy into anime. Mm-hmm. I love Dragon Ball Z. Then there's like Pokemon. Right. Who didn't, massive man? Collector of that. Yeah, I was super into that. I still got all my original cards. And then I loved One Punch Man.
Oh man, that's the show right there.
Yeah. So there's a few animes that I did like, and you know, Trunks and Goku are some of my favorite types of characters. So yeah, absolutely. But I wouldn't say it's so heavy into my universes. It was more like Marvel. You know what I mean? More like Mortal Kombat. You know what I mean? Those are probably more what inspires Impound Comics.
Now, would you consider Impound Comics to be more on the Mortal Kombat side, so kind of like mature from, you know, more mature ends?
Yeah, okay. It's definitely mature. I have cussing in my books. There's violence, no nudity, nothing like that. But it's definitely a more mature type of story.
Now, from what I hear too, you're expanding that universe. I think I heard something about you doing like a trading cards or like okay, tell me about that.
You know, it was probably like 8-9 months ago. A guy named Jake Chatters came in our store, and it was actually his idea to think of the rules. He thought of all the rules, the gameplay, compared it to other games, and then months later he brought it in, and we just kind of fine-tuned it. Yeah, we're the pre-order for that is happening right now. We just launched it, and it's called Impound Chaos, our first 52-card game.
Wow, man, that's amazing. And so, is it going to be similar? Like, would you say similar to like Pokemon, similar to like Yu-Gi-Oh, Dungeons and Dragons?
It's not that complex.
Okay, okay.
It does have rules like this, a little more game of chance.
Got it.
So I would say it would definitely be more along the lines of like Uno or Speed, but with our characters. It doesn't play like that, but it's not so strategic like Magic the Gathering. Right. You know, a lot goes into that. This one we are, especially I was saying Sacramento, especially with a lot of minorities, we're kind of introducing people to the first time into this kind of world. So I didn't want to go too complex on our first trading card game because we want people who weren't doing that before
to get into it.
Yeah. So this is an easier transition for people who didn't like trading card games, who weren't playing Yu-Gi-Oh and things like that. So up the road, I'm gonna probably have a more complex adaptation of a trading card game. But this one is more, like I said, like it'd be like playing Uno or playing Speed or something like that.
I mean, I think that's smart too. Like you said, especially like if you don't come from that world, because that is a big world. Like the trading card and just like the card gaming world itself can be very complex, right?
Yeah.
And so to introduce a new audience, I think it's better too to kind of
ease them in.
Yeah, ease them in.
You know what I mean? Not hitting them over the head with the
too
energy card and you know what I mean?
You know, and they get frustrated. Like, I don't understand this. It's too much for
you know
me.
what I mean?
No, that makes sense. What has been some of the challenges, man, like of, you know, creating Impound Comics and just like, you know, because I understand you have 2 locations, right?
Yeah.
Now, you know, what like, tell me about that process, man. Like, what has been some of the challenges just to like, you know, open up the first store and then like expand? I'm pretty sure like some of the people out there who may want to do something similar, they probably want to know like, man, like how do I get started? Like, how do I approach it?
You know, I found a few good people early on that have been helping me the entire time. You know, so I have a good team, but expanding the team has been a challenge. I mean, finances are always a challenge. You know, you can only move as fast as your budget.
Right.
And you know, just never been in a position of owning stores. Mm-hmm. So to see what that looks like from an owner's perspective. But it's been pretty smooth though, you know. So I think we're moving quickly, but the right way. Mm. And you know, we're gonna get to the main goals when we get there. I'm not really in a rush. So, but those are some of the main challenges. Finding new illustrators. Always, like I said, I have more written than completed. You know, so I need more illustrators. But I have a certain art style that I kind of like demand that a lot of people can't do, you know. So I meet talented illustrators all the time that just aren't capable of doing it the way I already have it. You know what I mean? So that's a challenge.
I would say, so what, because you brought up like art styles, would you say, like what art styles kind of like you're attracted to or inspire you? Like from other comics, or just like, do you have like a go-to that, not even from comics, maybe like in Marvel or something like that you just like the style of it and it just kind of be like, you know, it kind of makes you want to create more on your side? Not
Marvel, but DC.
DC, okay.
So I think of it as like Gotham,
okay.
And then I think of it as like The Watchmen. You know what I mean? Just kind of like that darker vibe. Spawn, like I said earlier. Yeah. You know, so it just has to look dark. I don't want it to be like happy characters and happiness. I'm not really into that.
Right.
You know, I'm into more like, you know,
more
beat downs. You know what I mean? Like,
I get it. I've seen Watchmen. So one last thing, man, I want to ask you is like, where do you want Impound Comics to go? Like, where, like 5 years from now, like where would you want to see Impound Comics?
You know, in 5 years, I'm definitely hoping we have some sort of you know, live action adaptation or at least fully animated, you know, on a major platform. But that's the goal, you know, is to make Impound Comics, Impound Studios, being a full production company and you know, just expanding. Okay. I don't want to be around the stores anymore at that time, you know.
Okay.
You know.
That makes
but that's the goal of it.
You said like 5 years from now, you would like to see a live adaptation of Impound Comics. Do you have somebody in mind for like the characters already, like who you want to play?
Not always. Yes and no. Not all the characters though, definitely. It wasn't even a thing of mine. People started telling me my main villain, I had a big blow up of him in the store. People always ask, they would say he looked like Terry Crews. So then that just kind of became a thing.
Right.
Of, you know, Terry Crews will play Christ Jones. As far as Impound, I definitely want to have an adaptation with Andre Taylor, who played him in my trailer. But, you know, there will be different adaptations of him. I want it to be, there's going to be the animated adaptation, the live action, the TV series.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, you know, I haven't thought too deep into that because I'm honestly, you know, if a studio has actors that they have, I'm open to it.
Right.
You know,
I mean,
so
yeah.
I don't have like too many like dream actors to play them or anything like that.
Right. All right, that makes sense. So, you know, talking about like I know you kind of mentioned like maybe having a cartoon version, right? How is the process there? Would you see yourself having maybe a cartoon version first before you go to a live adaptation? Or
Well, we have a cartoon right now.
Okay,
so
yes.
we have our YouTube series. So we released a 7-minute episode maybe like 3 months ago, and we're about to release the second episode. And then we'll keep releasing them in increments of 5 to 7 minutes, and then eventually re-release it as a full.
Okay.
So that's what we're doing on our end to try to, you know, get more interest from bigger studios. But most likely, yeah, a cartoon will probably come first.
Right.
It's just more obtainable.
Yeah.
So we'll see, you know. But whatever a studio would want to do is what I'd be down to do.
Right. And so, what's that process like? Is it challenging finding like the right voice actors for it? Because I know, like you said, you have this idea of just like when you're creating like illustration wise, like how you want it to look in a certain way. So when it comes to like voices and you know for the characters. Has that been like a challenging process or whatever? Or
it hasn't been that tough.
No, okay.
You know, it hasn't been that tough. I kind of knew people who were like I met. I would talk to someone and be like, this will be who I have playing this character. And then when it was time, that's what we did.
Right.
So I didn't go through a casting call or anything like that. Like I already knew whose voice should be on these characters when it came to doing the cartoon, and then just continuing. You know.
Do you ever find yourself? Because obviously, like, right, you're still in the middle of growing Impound Comics, right?
Yeah.
But do you ever find yourself thinking about, like other projects, right? Like, obviously, you're still trying to grow this, but, like, let's say you come up with an idea and, like, it's a cool idea, but it's like, that doesn't fit Impound Comics. But I'm going to hold on to that because I still like that idea, and maybe later on, I might be able to use that for something else.
No, I don't think there's anything that doesn't fit. I feel like I can make anything fit in the company that I want.
Right.
You know what I mean? We're doing documentary. We're doing one on Sac High's basketball program produced by Impound Comics. We're doing one on Grant's football. I don't think we have those type of limitations, but I do think there are projects that I've archived because we don't have the budget to do it.
Right.
But if I can do it, then no. I don't see anything as like a holdback or doesn't help push forward. You know what I mean? So there's all type of random projects that I just look at. Impound Comics would be the umbrella production company of that. You know, so, you know, Disney, they have Mickey Mouse, they have Marvel, they have, you know what I mean?
Right.
Football, documentaries, whatever.
Right.
You know what I mean? As long as I'm capable of doing it is the only thing I'm worried about.
So Impound would be the umbrella, right? The head, and then within that though, like within like the Impound universe, you ever see yourself thinking about like side stories? Because like you said, like DC has right, like Gotham, they have Superman, they have Flash, they have all these other like these characters, but within these characters, they all have their own like separate like stories and villains and missions, and yeah, they collaborate. So you ever see yourself like maybe like within the Impound world, like these characters, maybe they'll have their own like kind of like side.
Yeah, no, we already have that. So
Okay.
we have 6 series.
Okay.
So Impound was the first, but we have a series called Alina, we have a series called Decimus, Seraph, Lady Monarch. And then we have a children's book series called Superhero Daycare.
Really?
Yeah, so yeah, we're already doing that. Like, okay. I just announced a new character named Blasted that's going to be Stockton's first superhero. So yeah, I have a ton of other characters and other journeys that they don't even know Impound, but they're still in that same universe.
Yeah. Got it. Okay, I see what you're saying.
And they'll meet each other at some point. But yeah, that was something early. That was something early on. So once I did Impound 1 and I was waiting for the second one to be produced, I started writing like Seraph and, getting that like that. So yeah, we already have that going.
So they building out the world and everything.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
That. Okay. Now, you said like, tell me about the one you said, Stockton's first superhero. Now,
so Impound is Sac's first superhero. Now Blasted is Stockton's.
Yeah. So is every character like local to like North Cal, like a different?
I mean, some characters are aliens. Some characters aren't even on planet Earth.
Got it.
No, and still no. Seraph's from the Philippines.
Okay.
But NorCal, Sacramento and NorCal is kind of just a backdrop of the universe. So they all will come through Sacramento one way or another.
Got it.
But they don't have to necessarily be from Sacramento.
Got it.
You know, but Marvel always ends up in New York somehow.
Right.
So the Impound universe will always end up in Sacramento. Yeah.
I like that, man. I think that's a dope idea, and I like how you're making it your own.
Yeah.
Right. Like I can definitely see like some of like the similarities. I mean, we all can. We all like love Marvel, DC, and we get inspired from like some of the stories, and I can definitely see how in your universe or whatever, like some of the general like ideas, right? Like how everyone ends up in one central place at some point.
Yeah.
But how you're definitely making it relatable to like one, the natives and like local people, right?
Yeah.
And then two, local to like you.
Yeah.
One, other question I got to ask this, man, is, when, I'm assuming at some point you're going to have a Bay Area, like an Oakland superhero, right?
Oakland for sure.
Okay. Like.
Because I'm trying to go for the cities that aren't the one percenters, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So I'm not really looking at like LA and San Francisco. I'm looking for more cities that appreciate that they have a hero. You know what I mean? So that was kind of my strategy out the gate. And then we just started in Sacramento. I'm
a picture right now, man. I'm, like the Oakland definitely can use a superhero, and maybe by day he's a host, he's a talk show host, and by night he fights crime at night. Like I'm just throwing it out there now. You heard it first, so everything amazing. I'm just throwing that idea out there.
Definitely. But Oakland definitely has always kind of been on my radar for that, because Oakland's kind of like the black art mecca. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like a necessary thing for what we're doing to be there, and I've been working towards that. We did a collaborated hat with a brand called Breaking Heart Clothing. They're from Oakland, so that was like my first. He was stepping into this market, and we were stepping into his. So absolutely.
I say that because I'm from Oakland, so I had to make sure at some point Oakland gets on the map in there.
It's all good.
But no, I mean, I definitely appreciate you coming on the show and sharing your knowledge, man, and just I like everything you're doing with the comic, man. And I've been watching like your success, man. I'm seeing it grow, and like I said, I think in 5 years, man, I definitely can see you like out there, like like live adaptation and really doing big things. So I just want to say, man, stay at it, man, and you keep grinding. And I hope the people who see this episode and see all the work that you put into it, I hope they get inspired to, whether they're trying to do the same thing or something similar, or maybe they're trying to do something different. But I hope they see like all the hard work that you're putting in, and that kind of gives them the idea and the drive to kind of pursue what they're working on. And that's really what this show is about, is to really like highlight people like you who are really putting in the work and making their dreams come true.
Right. I appreciate that.
So
absolutely.
Thank you again. That's been another great episode of Everyday Amazing. Be sure to check out, before we leave, I want you to shout out your where people can contact you out, man.
ImpoundComics.com is the main one.
Okay.
Social media? Impound Comics across the board. So all platforms. And then our two physical locations, one's in Doco by the Kings Arena, and then the other one's in Arden Mall. That shop's called Antihero.
Okay. So you heard it here. That's where you can check out the shop. Everybody who watches this episode, make sure you go and support. And that's been another episode of Everyday Amazing with Sky Alton. I'll see you guys next time. Until then, check me out on YouTube at Sky Everyday Amazing with Sky Alton on YouTube, and on Instagram at Sky_Alton. We'll see you guys next time.
Everyday amazing. Everyday amazing. Everyday amazing with Sky Alton.